For 6.5 years, Luka Doncic called Dallas home. He loved the city and gave the organization everything he had, becoming one of the best players in the NBA, representing the Mavericks so well every single night. He never once considered playing anywhere else. He was supposed to be a one-franchise player. Tim Duncan with the Spurs, Kobe Bryant with the Lakers, Larry Bird with the Celtics. These players are synonymous with their franchise, and Luka and the Mavericks were supposed to be one and the same. But it didn't work out that way. While Luka Doncic was loyal to the Mavericks, the franchise wasn't loyal to him, sending him off to Los Angeles in the craziest, most unexpected trade in 80 years of NBA basketball. Mavericks fans were blindsided and broken by this trade, and so was Luka Doncic himself, because he never wanted this. But from the moment he stepped foot in Los Angeles, it was the beginning of a new era, an era where he is seeking revenge on the franchise that did him wrong. He has been playing out of his mind this season with the Lakers, and it's only the beginning. The Mavericks already regret their decision, and Luka is going to make sure that those who were responsible will never be able to forgive themselves. This is personal for Luka, and to understand why it's personal, you have to understand how much he gave this franchise from the very beginning. A top 5 pick in the NBA draft can change everything for a franchise, and in 2018, the Dallas Mavericks found themselves in this exact position with the 5th overall pick. Since winning an NBA title in 2011, this team has seen some dark days, multiple first-round exits, and just 24 wins last season. And with Dirk Nowitzki nearing retirement, it was time for a new era in Dallas, and they needed a young star to carry them into that new era. The player in this draft class that the Mavericks had their eyes on the most was Luka Doncic, a kid who was tearing it up overseas for Real Madrid.
It was watching the players that he played with defer to him. Grown men who had been in those leagues in the NBA for years wanting the ball in his hands. That's all I needed to see.
But there was one problem, because Luka was expected to go higher than pick number 5, so Dallas would have to pull some strings if they wanted to get their guy. To prove that they were all in on Luka Doncic, they made a trade with Atlanta to move up to number 3 where Doncic would be available. They gave up their 2019 first rounder in the process, but they knew that this kid was gonna be worth it. This is who they wanted to lead the franchise into its next great era, and they made it happen.
Half-court heave. And Luka banked it home! Luka Magic has made everybody ooh and ah!
Yeah, he was more than worth it. Luka's rookie season was nothing short of spectacular, putting up some incredible numbers that even rivaled the rookie season of LeBron James, numbers that were really better than his. This kid was special, playing pro basketball at the highest level since the age of 16 had him well prepared for the NBA. He looked like he belonged here. He didn't play like a rookie. And the Rookie of the Year award race had come down to Luka Doncic and Trae Young, the players who were traded for each other on draft night. But this award race was never actually close. Luka getting 98 out of 100 possible first place votes, the near unanimous Rookie of the Year here in 2019. The Dallas Mavericks' decision to go all in and trade up for Luka was 100% vindicated. They had their superstar to take them into the next era. And with Dirk's retirement, he had arrived just in time. Luka Doncic had Dirk's cosign, and in Dallas, that means everything. The city and the franchise was in good hands moving forward, and this was only the beginning of the Luka era in Dallas. Now real quick, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Arena Club. I've recently been using Arena Club to level up my trading card game, as here on their website you can get real graded trading cards. They've got football, basketball, baseball, Pokemon cards, all that right here with packs ranging from $25 and higher. Arena Club is really the future of trading cards. It's my favorite way to open packs, which is exactly what I'm finna do for y'all right now. Now as y'all can see right here, I'm finna open up this Ruby pack, which has 3 grails available right now. That is crazy. And it's got a bunch of other great cards as well. Like, I wouldn't mind this Victor Wembanyama whatsoever. That's one of my favorite players for sure. But yeah, man, there's a bunch of great cards that are available from this pack right now. So let's open this thing up and see what we can get. The pack is opening. Let's see what we are going to get. Ain't no way we pulled Victor Wembanyama. I was just talking about him. That's crazy, bro. Now, as y'all can see right here in my showroom, man, Victor Wembanyama is here. We got this new card. Now, once you have obtained the card, there's a bunch of different options for what you can do with it. As you can see right here, we could auction this thing off. There's also an Arena Club offer that we just got, as you can see here. Or you can trade the card, you can hold it, or you can get the physical card shipped to you as well. And look, y'all, right now is a perfect time to join in on the action with Arena Club, because you can get 20% off your first lab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/WillSoTrill and using code WillSoTrill. Y'all let me know what y'all end up pulling, man, but let's get back to it. Here Here in his second season, Luka Doncic was unbelievable. He had improved even further, becoming one of the NBA's best players at just 20 years old, with the first-team All-NBA appearance to validate how special he was. The front office had brought in Kristaps Porzingis over the offseason as they knew that they needed to surround Luka with talent, because when they do, this is the result, a playoff appearance this early into his young career. But the odds were stacked against them here in the first round, facing the second-seed Los Angeles Clippers, a team that was led by Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, two of the best two-way players in the league, guys that could definitely give Luka some serious trouble with their defensive capabilities. But those guys, they were no problem for 20-year-old Luka Doncic. An efficient 42 points by Luka Doncic in his first ever playoff game, the most points ever scored by a player in their playoff debut. The Clippers had some amazing defenders, but none of them had the answers for Luka Doncic. Despite the incredible performance here in his debut, the Mavericks would fail to bring in the win, and this became the theme of the series. Because Luka was unreal against the Clippers, averaging 31, 10, and 9 across the series, numbers that are hard to believe coming from a guy in the first playoff series of his NBA career. This series included a game where Luka recorded 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists in a single game where the Mavericks came out with the win. But this would be just one of 2 wins for the Mavs in this series, losing to the Clippers in 6 games. There was no question that coming into this one, Los Angeles was the better team, but the fight that the Mavericks put up against them had gained a lot of respect. And Luka Doncic, he had really gained a lot of respect. Everybody knew it now. He was the real deal. Into year 3, the Luka Magic continued in Dallas, yet another season making the All-NBA first team, this time leading the Dallas Mavericks to the 5th seed in the West. And in the playoffs, they would once again be facing the Los Angeles Clippers, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard versus Luka Doncic, Part 2. In Game 1, the Mavs came out and shocked the Clippers behind a statement triple-double from Luka. He had put up absurd numbers against this team last year in the playoffs, and he was doing it again. But this time, they were starting to win some games. Because in Game 2, behind the 39-point outing by Luka Doncic, the Mavericks took a 2-0 lead, winning both games in Los Angeles. But the Clippers would bounce back over the next 2 games to even it up, overcoming monster performances from Luka. Game 5 in an even series is always the most pivotal. If Dallas could steal another game here in Los Angeles, they could be in business and well on their way to the second round for the first time in a decade. And in this game, Luka Doncic was on smoke, a 42-point, 14-assist offensive masterclass. It's just what he does. This helped Dallas secure a major 3-2 lead with the chance to close it out at home to pull off the upset. But unfortunately, it wasn't their time just yet. The Clippers clutched up over the last 2 games of the series by winning Game 6 and winning Game 7 at home. They had to fight hard to come out victorious in this one, as Luka Doncic put up numbers that you might see in a Chris Move My Career video across the series. Dallas just didn't get enough contributions outside of Luka, and that was the deciding factor. Luka was doing everything in his power. He just had to have some help. Now, if you're locked into the story and enjoying the video so far, I just want you to know this isn't the only one. There's many more on the channel and many more coming soon. So don't miss out, because 93% of you watching right now are not subscribed, which means 93% of you are missing out on more videos just like this one. Hit that subscribe button as we push for that big 100K milestone. Another year of Luka Doncic, another All-NBA first team appearance, making it 3 of those at just age 22. This was a certified superstar and a model of consistency. But this year was more successful than previous years in Dallas. The Luka era was really beginning to heat up, a 50-win season. At the trade deadline, the Mavericks decided to give up on the Kristaps Porzingis experiment, sending him off to Washington for Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie certainly added a lot to Dallas, but the main improvement for the Mavericks this season was the emergence of Jalen Brunson. He was becoming a serious second option to Luka Doncic, providing this offensive help that Dallas desperately needed beside him. And Brunson was really going to show out in the playoffs, because with Luka Doncic having to miss the first 3 games of their first round series against the Utah Jazz, Brunson stepped up massively. He led the Mavericks to a 2-1 series lead, averaging 32 points per game across these first 3 games, securing Dallas in a good position as Luka was ready to return. And with Luka Doncic doing Luka Doncic things, this series was wrapped up in 6 games. The dynamic duo of Luka and Brunson had ripped the Jazz apart, and the Dallas Mavericks were on to the second round of the NBA playoffs for the first time in 11 years. But in the round 2, the Mavericks once again found themselves as the underdog. The Phoenix Suns had won 64 games this season, the best record in the NBA, fresh off of making the NBA Finals last season. This team was something serious. And they showed that by winning the first 2 games of the series. Once again, Luka was spectacular, easily the best player in the series, but the Suns were too strong. It looked like this season was going to be the same story all over again, but Dallas bounced back, defending their home court in consecutive games to even it all up at 2. Another pivotal Game 5 was coming up, but the Mavericks got dominated in this one, a 30-point demoralizing loss. With their backs against the wall in Game 6, they clapped back at Phoenix, securing a dominant blowout win of their own, forcing Game 7. And this Game 7, it can never be forgotten.
We're going to be seeing this photo for a long time. The Phoenix Suns are going to be seeing this for a long time. This shot will hang on permanent display in the Museum of Ass Kickings.
This just might have been the most embarrassing end to a season we've seen in recent NBA history, because the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic ran these guys out of the building on their home floor. This was a statement to the NBA that these Mavericks meant business. The Luka era in Dallas was just getting started, and it was real. In the Western Conference Finals, the Mavericks had to take on the Golden State Warriors, a team that was looking to revive their dynasty, while the Mavericks were looking to create one of their own around their new superstar Luka Doncic. But the postseason experience and the championship pedigree of the Golden State Warriors was simply too much for Dallas in this series, losing in 5 games, their worst series defeat in the Luka era. But this season had to be viewed as a massive success in Dallas. They made it to the conference finals and finally had a serious second option next to Luka Doncic, with Brunson having himself an amazing postseason. He emerged as a true star. Surely they couldn't mess this up.
More breaking NBA news. Jalen Brunson intends to sign a 4-year deal with the Knicks.
This was an insane fumble by the Mavericks. They could have signed Brunson to an extension during the season, an extension that Brunson wanted to sign. But the Mavs instead wanted to use him as a potential trade piece at the deadline if a possible blockbuster move came up. But of course, nothing ever came up. Brunson had to have felt disrespected by this, being used as trade bait by his franchise. They had an emerging star next to Luka Doncic, and they just blew it. Next season wasn't looking too good for Dallas. Without Jalen Brunson, Luka had to carry significantly more offensive load this year, and he was handling it well, averaging a career high in points per game and a career high in efficiency. But of course, the Dallas Mavericks had dropped off. They went from a 50-win team last season to now being a team that was fighting to stay above 500. Luka Doncic needed some help, and the front office had a solution. Kyrie Irving. This was a move that made the loss of Jalen Brunson sting significantly less, because once again Luka Doncic had a legitimate second option playing next to him. He has some help. But this trade didn't exactly turn their season around, because the Dallas Mavericks went on to miss the playoffs despite making the midseason acquisition of Kyrie Irving. While the Mavericks had 2 amazing players at the top of their roster, the rest of it was lackluster. They were feeling the loss of important role players like DFS and Dinwiddie. They had the 2 stars, they had one of the best players in the world. They just had to fill out the rest of their roster to complement this new duo. And that's exactly what they did. They brought in Derek Lively from the draft, signed Derrick Jones Jr. in free agency, and acquired both PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford on the same day at the trade deadline. The supporting cast around Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving had massively improved, and this was all they needed to take things to a whole nother level. Dallas finished the year strong with their new acquisitions, another 50-win season to secure the 5th seed in the West. And Luka Doncic was out of this world, leading the NBA in scoring while nearly averaging a triple-double, an MVP caliber season, a season where he might have deserved to win it. But the one thing that he wanted to win the most was an NBA championship, and that was the only thing on his mind heading into these playoffs. In round 1, it was a familiar face for Luka and the Mavs, the Los Angeles Clippers. But this team looked a lot different from the last time that they faced off, now led by James Harden. This time around, the Mavericks were the superior team, and it was a close series, but the Mavericks overcame their demons of old in 6 games. And just like last season, they had to face a serious contender in round 2, the Oklahoma City Thunder, a 57-win team that was the best in the West, led by another MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And just like 2 seasons ago, the Dallas Mavericks were about to shock the NBA world, because in another 6-game series, they found themselves making it to the Western Conference Finals once again. And this time, they weren't facing a squad with championship experience. They were facing a squad who was looking to establish themselves the same way that they were. The Minnesota Timberwolves were on an incredible run that was led by Anthony Edwards and anchored by the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. But they weren't exactly up for the task of dealing with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it!
The Mavericks made light work of the Minnesota Timberwolves, taking them down in just 5 games, with Luka Doncic having an unreal series that would end in him winning the Western Conference Finals MVP, and the Dallas Mavericks were headed back to the NBA Finals. But they were running into a juggernaut. The Boston Celtics had it all. Everybody could defend, everybody could shoot, almost everybody could create offensively, and they ran circles around the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. Their defense was smothering, shutting down Kyrie, Irving, and limiting Luka Doncic. And their offense, a well-oiled machine that had the whole team involved across the series that ended in just 5 games. Boston was simply that much better than Dallas, and that's just what it was. The end result was a disappointment, but the progress couldn't be ignored. Luka Doncic was just 24 years old and had led Dallas to the NBA Finals. If they continue to build around Luka like they have done over the last year, this team was destined to win an NBA title, maybe multiple. Dallas went into the next season making even more improvements, signing Najee Marshall in free agency, trading for Quentin Grimes, and completing a sign and trade to bring in a lethal shooter in Klay Thompson. This new team was looking solid to start the year with a 19-10 record, the 4th best in the West. But that's when Luka Doncic suffered a calf strain on Christmas, now expected to miss the next month of action at least. But getting injured would be the last thing Luka ever did in a Mavericks jersey.
We're just receiving word of a massive trade in the NBA. The Lakers have traded Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Luka Doncic.
What?
Yeah. That was everybody's reaction. The news was so unbelievable that everybody thought Shams got hacked. There's no way that this could happen. There's no way that this could be real. Why would the Mavericks trade one of the best players in the world in his prime when he never requested a trade? They actually did it. This became one of those where were you when this happened moments. Genuinely one of the most shocking moments in NBA history, and quite easily the most shocking trade in NBA history. And nobody wished that this news wasn't true more than Mavericks fans. They were about to go through every single stage of grief that there is. But as upset as they were, nobody was more upset than Luka Doncic. He had given this team everything. This city had become his home. He loved it here in Dallas, and even during the years where it felt like he didn't have any help, he never once complained or asked for a trade. This was supposed to be his team, his franchise, and they betrayed him. It was a move that was so incredibly stupid that the one thing Mavs GM Nico Harrison could say in an attempt to justify it was, quote, defense wins championships. During this entire press conference, Jason Kidd looked like he wanted to throw hands with this man for trading his superstar. And we know Jason Kidd got hands. This trade was just beyond shocking. They had done Luka Doncic so wrong. With Luka coming to Los Angeles, it was time for a new beginning. Being a superstar player and playing for the Los Angeles Lakers brings championship expectations with their amazing history in this league with guys like Magic Johnson and Kobe Bryant. Real dynasties. With Luka wearing the purple and gold and playing alongside LeBron James, the Lakers were turning it up. They went on an 8-game win streak, taking down numerous Western Conference challenges in the process, Luka Doncic having some big-time performances across this stretch. But the most anticipated game came towards the end of the regular season because it was Luka's first time back in Dallas since the trade. Before tip-off, the Mavs displayed a tribute video on the Jumbotron, and Luka teared up as he watched it. That city and those fans meant everything to him. And he meant everything to them too. Because as Luka Doncic went off for 45 points in that game against the Mavericks, the fans cheered and got on their feet every single time he scored, even getting a standing ovation as he left the floor up 16.
So many emotions, can't even explain it. Brought tears to my eyes. Like I said, I came as a young kid here with 18 and not knowing what to expect from NBA. And they made me feel like home, and to be back with the fans that I spent 6.5 years with, supporting me like that was just unbelievable for me.
Luka loved this city, but those 45 points, those were a message to the people that decided to trade him, and the Dallas fans were fully behind Luka, proving them wrong. In the playoffs, the Lakers had a very disappointing exit, losing in the first round to the 6th seed Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. It wasn't the best series for Luka, but he somehow managed to average 30. But the Lakers obviously had to make some improvements based on the result of this series. And they were active in free agency, signing a much-needed big man in DeAndre Ayton and some defensive reinforcement in Marcus Smart. And even with LeBron James missing the first portion of this season so far with injury, these changes, along with the sensational Luka Magic, have worked out very well for the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have the 2nd best record in the Western Conference behind this unreal OKC team, and Luka Doncic is building up a serious case to bring home his first ever MVP award this season, because he is somehow averaging 35 points per game, which leads the league, while also adding on 9 rebounds and 9 assists. He is absolutely absurd, and he is determined to win every single night, which is reflected by how well the Lakers have been playing this season. He's become the heart of this team, the same way he was in Dallas. And speaking of Dallas, their plan has completely backfired for them, even after lucking into the #1 overall pick in the draft lottery. Anthony Davis has hardly played because he can't stay healthy, and the Mavericks find themselves near the bottom of the league, one of the worst records. Their rookie Cooper Flagg has been put into a very uncomfortable situation because he's had to play point guard and be the team's primary playmaker, a role that he hasn't really been ready for. It's an absolute disaster in Dallas, and the main thing that they are missing, an offensive creator and playmaker, is exactly what they gave up in Luka Doncic. And Luka isn't just an offensive creator and playmaker, he's one of the best ever at it. But those services are in Los Angeles now because they made the biggest mistake in the history of their franchise, one that has now finally led to the firing of the general manager who pulled the trigger on that move. The Mavericks organization is already having their regrets while Luka is having the best season of his career in LA. But this is far from the end of this story. Luka Doncic is on a mission. He's seeking revenge, and the rest of the NBA should be terrified.